You can tell that I am in a reading slump when I don't even unbox book packages. Now it's not enough that I am in a reading slump. Now I'm also angry. Don't know the name of the main character? I hear Julia Whelan's voice in my head. It's not a book, it's me.
I adore this book.
Hey guys, how are you? What's going on with you? Here, there is a huge reading slump going on with me. That's what's happening. Obviously, I am not super happy about this situation. It's been more than a fortnight since I haven't picked up a book, and it is serious. The last time when I was in such a big reading slump, that was last year, January, and unfortunately, I did not have any other choice but to force through myself that reading slump because I had to do a lot of reading, academic reading for work, and obviously it was not a good choice. I shouldn't have done that, but what can you do when you need it for work? You need it for work. So this time I decided that I am not going to force myself. I am just going to lean into this reading slump and let it take me wherever it wants to take me. You can tell that I am in a reading slump when I don't even unbox book packages, right? And now finally, after like 2 weeks, I'm starting to feel that I miss reading and it is time to pick up a book. So that's the mission in this video, to find a book, a couple of books, not just a single book, like hopefully a couple of books that I will finish in this vlog and I will enjoy in this vlog. I have a huge TBR for this video. I have all different genres and all different formats. I have, of course, physical books, like you can see my physical TBR there on the trolley, and of course I have a lot of books on my Kindle, and I downloaded from Libby like 10 audiobooks, a mix of fiction and non-fiction as well. So you know, the world is my oyster right now. And just to add to my physical TBR, we are going to unbox these 2 book boxes. I ordered these like weeks ago, but again, I was not really in the mood to open them, so we are going to do that, and we are going to add these books onto my physical TBR. So let's check what's in the first box, because all honesty, I don't really remember what I ordered. Okay, the first book is A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. Yes, I do want to read this book, and this book has been on my TBR for a very long time, and I wanted to snatch this cover before they change the US cover to that new atrocious cover. Like, no. I bought the hardcover before that one comes out. And the second book is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I have not read this book yet because I was waiting for the paperback. I don't know, guys, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I really hate to read romance in hardback format. I don't really like to read hardback books in general. Of course I do, because a lot of new releases only come out in hardback. But when it comes to romance, like, I just really don't like it. And I hope that this copy of Happy Place will go nicely with all the other copies, the Emily Henry copies that I have, all her other books. So I will check that. But this is a very nice book, and the colors do make me very happy. Okay, second box. I think I know what's in there, because this was pre-ordered, and I think I know what's in this box. Wow, this is such a gorgeous cover. The newest release from Holy Black, The Prisoner's Throne. This is the second book to The Stolen Heir, and this is the spin-off series of The Cruel Prince, right? And I do love this series. I love Cruel Prince series, but I also love the Stolen Heir duology, and I cannot wait to continue the story of Oak and Ren. So all these 3 books are kind of like contenders for this getting out of reading slump vlog. I'm going to pick up a couple of books at the same time, and what I'm going to try to read first is a book that I love, and that's such a useful tip whenever you are in a reading slump. Try to read a book that you know that you love. You love being with the characters, you love being in that world, and then hopefully it will pull you out. And to me, in this vlog, it is gonna be A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. But I am not going to read the physical book. It's like almost 1,000 pages. No. I am going to listen to the audiobook, and the audiobook is narrated by Stina... I was gonna say Stina Sterling, but that's stupid. Stina Nielsen, yes. And I think that she is a fantastic audiobook narrator, and I think that her voice will go really well with Nesta's character. So this can be, you know, a hit or a miss for me, but I adore this book. I adore Nesta and I adore Cassian. So hopefully this book will, you know, help my situation a little bit. And I am also going to add The Prisoner's Throne to the first set of books that I am reading, because I do like the characters in this book, and because I only recently finished Bride by Ellie Hazelwood. I'm also gonna add her very first book, The Love Hypothesis, but again, it's on an audiobook that I got from Libby. So far what I've read from Ellie Hazelwood, both Bride and Love, theoretically, they were actually really good, like not perfect books, but I enjoyed them and I finished them, you know, within a couple of days, because they did kept me reading. So I'm hoping that one of these books will actually work for me. Once I finished any of these books, or I should say finishing, that's a huge hope right now, but once I made significant reading process when it comes to any of these books, I will pop back in and give you guys a little bit of updates. So see you soon. Okay guys, this is now about a week later, and now it's not enough that I am in a reading slump. Now I'm also angry, thanks to Ellie Hazelwood. So the past week didn't really go well. Out of the 3 books, I DNF'd 2 books and I only finished one, but it took me a week to finish that book. So yeah, I would not call this a success, but anyways. So the very first book, The Love Hypothesis by Ellie Hazelwood. Oh my god, I'm choking. I don't want to talk about this book. I really did not like this book. I do not like this book, and it's got nothing to do with my reading slump. I was very positive going into this book because I liked Love theoretically from her. I made an entire video about that book, and I said that thank you, Ellie Hazelwood, for highlighting all the misogyny that female scientists have to face in academia. Like, this was a really good book. There were certain things that I disagree with, and it's all in that video if you want to check them out. I don't want to talk about those things in detail here, but I was like, give me another book, give me another STEMinist book that takes place in the field of biological sciences. Oh, this is for me. I'm happy to read it. No. It's just no. This book relies very heavily on the fake dating trope, and it's a fake dating kind of relationship between Olive, who is a PhD candidate, and Adam, who is, I believe he's a junior professor. And like, we all know how this is going to end up, right? And even in Love theoretically, it made me icky because she did kind of the same thing in relationships, workplace relationships, when there is a junior and then there is a senior member and then they get into a relationship. Clearly there is a huge difference in power dynamics and maybe sometimes even in age, and this is just something that doesn't work for me. And I think also that this should not be romanticized. These kind of relationships should not be romanticized. We know now, because we have heard so many brave female scientists coming forward and saying that I was harassed, abused by a senior member of the group, like for example PhD students and PhD supervisors, and it is a real issue. And now we romanticize this in this book. How can we romanticize this? And this book sells millions, and this book has a higher than 4 point whatever rating on Goodreads. No, it's very rare that I so aggressively disagree with a book, but I am not willing to read more than I've already read. I think I read around 100 pages. I cannot do it. I am not willing to deal with this book, and I am not going to poison my mind with this book. It's not okay. But this book obviously did not recover me from my slump. It just made me super angry. So then I started The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black, and I read only the first chapter. So I read 37 pages, and I also DNF'd this book. It's got nothing to do with the book. It's got nothing to do with the content. I am just simply not able to get into the book. I am not feeling this book right now. But because I love this world so much, I decided to put this book down because I don't want to hate this book. I want to read this book in the future. So, I'm just going to put it down and pick it back up when I am in the mood. But there is nothing wrong with this book so far. And the book that I actually finished, you guessed it, A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. I finished this book on audio and not in physical format. And just like I expected, Stina Nielsen, wow, she did an amazing job narrating Nesta and all the other characters. It was fantastic. Now, this being said, it still took me 5 days to read this book. And the very first time when I read this book, it took me 24 hours or something like that. When I read Sarah J. Maas books and they work for me, I finish them usually within a day, or really max 2 days. I love this book, and I think I will always love this book because this is a character study, and I am a character-driven person, a character-driven reader, and I adore Nesta's character. And I've said it so many times, but I'll say it again, that if you've ever experienced anxiety, depression, loneliness, anger, guilt, and just, all these completely normal human feelings, then I think that you will see the value in Nesta's character. I think that Sarah J. Maas did a fantastic job with this book because she said herself in an interview that she sees so much of herself in Nesta's character. So, an excellent book. And I'm hoping that the next ACOTAR book will be just as good as this one and not as bad as The House of Flame and Shadow. Well, after this not so successful round, I decided to pick up a T. Kingfisher book, A House with Good Bones. I adore T. Kingfisher. She is one of my favorite fantasy writers. I have not read many of her horror books. I think maybe just 1 or 2. But I am really looking forward to this one. This is a very short book, and I also have the audiobook from Libby, just in case I get bored. This book is actually so gorgeous. I really love the green colors that they used in this book. So yeah, I start reading this one, and whenever I have an update, I will pop back in and I let you guys know about my thoughts, and I let you guys know how it's going with my little reading slump. Well, everybody, welcome to my little jungle. The weather outside is, oh God, winter is back. We are again in the -Celsius range, and the rain is raining, if you know what I mean. So I cannot really go outside. I will be playing with my plants all day, but it's actually an activity that I'm very happy to do. So, it is no punishment. And while I'm working with my plants, I will also be listening to the audiobook of the T. Kingfisher book that I'm reading, A House with Good Bones. And I thought to update you guys quickly about this book because I did start this book yesterday, and so far I think I like it. Now, I brought you guys a little bit closer because the distance between us, it was just too big. I cannot work with that. So now it's better. Now we're like more like face to face, you know? Okay, so A House with Good Bones. Like I said, I only read a couple of chapters of this book, and so far, obviously, I have absolutely no idea what's happening, but I kind of like the vibes. So our main character is Samantha? Is her name Samantha? Well, I think so. I think so. Damn, I don't know the name of the main character. So, Samantha is... What's her job? Oh dear Lord, this is a disaster. Like seriously, what's her job? Samantha works with bugs. I think that the correct terminology is etymologist. I believe that's correct. And she specifically works with archaeologists because she studies the bugs or the bug prints in archaeological like findings and like diggings. And something happens at her current workplace, at the current digging site where she's working at, so she decides to go home to North Carolina, to her hometown, and visit her mom. And this sounds simple and easy, right? It is. But when she arrives, she realizes that like something is off, because mom looks weird and she behaves weird, and the house is also looking funny. Her mom looks super weird in a sense that her mom was always very voluptuous, and now she's like super skinny. Her mom loved colors, and now everything in the house is painted eggshell. There's this one particular painting that she just keeps mentioning that her mom and her entire family hated, but her grandma really loved that painting, and the grandma really loved the colors that are in the house, and her mom seems to be kind of afraid of something. And I obviously don't know exactly what's happening, but I really like the vibes. And right now I really like the book itself because there is a lot of nature talk, there's a lot of plant talk, specifically roses, there's a lot of bug talk. There will be bugs in the book. If that's something that bothers you, it doesn't bother me. I just wanted to put it out there. And I thought that I will be listening to the audiobook while I am working with my plants. To me, it makes perfect sense. So that's what I'm going to do. And once I have another update when it comes to this book, I will pop back in and I will let you guys know. Well guys, I finished it. I finished The House with Good Bones by Taking Fisher, and well, one, I finished another book, yay! Two, I like this book. Did it get me out of my reading slump? No. And it did take me several days to finish this book, and again, this is a very short book, so you know, it's like not like a full success, but I really like this book, and honestly, I would recommend this book. Just checking on Goodreads, the rating and people's reviews, people don't really like this Taking Fisher book that much, but I don't know why. I think it was okay. When it comes to her horror books, but even her fantasy, I think that she has such a unique and innovative way of thinking, and she puts that typical T. Kingfisher twist on everything. I like her horror books because she creates such a fantastic atmosphere in her books. I just love it. And T. Kingfisher has that very specific T. Kingfisher writing, and I know that if you've read any of her books, whether it's fantasy or horror, I think you know what I'm talking about. But just for those of you who don't know, I think that her books are always feminist, but she puts a very interesting twist on feminism, and I absolutely adore it. Her humor, it's something that either works for you or it doesn't, but it works for me. And honestly, whether it's fantasy or horror, she can make me laugh out loud. Like that happened with this book multiple times. I love the ending. I did not see where this book was going. Not at all. I was like, wait, what's happening? But all I can say, typical T. Kingfisher, and I liked it. Do I think that this is her best book ever? No, but I really did enjoy it, and ultimately I would recommend it. Now there are a couple of things that you need to know about this book. One, insects. Insects. There are a lot of insects in this book, and if this is something that triggers you, then probably skip this book, I would say. And also, this is a slow burn. I think that T. Kingfisher is excellent with slow burns, and slow burn in general, that doesn't bother me, so I was fine with it. But this book does not pick up until the 70-75% mark, I would say. So no, just keep that in mind. But I like it, and I like the cover. I like that everything is just so green and plants, and this was great. I finished it and it makes me very, very, very happy. Okay, what to pick up next? I'm kind of in a historical mood, and also I want to read romance. So first I will try to combine those two, and I will pick up a Regency era romance from the same author who wrote The Ladies Rewrite the Rules. It was very slow burn, and I ended up liking that book, and her books are also usually very short. I think the one that I downloaded from my library is Mrs. Lattimore's Letters, Susan Ellen. Yep, that's her name, that's the author's name. So that's one thing that I will try to read. And also, because I kind of want to read romance, and I also want to, let me just move a little bit, and I also want to give myself another option for historical stuff. Here is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I want to give this a try, and just to read it physically. The color makes me so happy. The colors in this book, so cool. And then also there is this book. Regrettably, I am about to cause trouble. The author is Amy McNee, and I heard this book. This is kind of like a new release, and Emma from Emmy Reads, she was the one reading this book, and she said that this book is fantastic. So I want to give it a try. This is a historical fiction, and there are witches in this book, and also apparently Anne Boleyn is a character in this book. And last year when I went to the UK, that was a year ago, a little bit less than a year ago, I visited a lot of historical sites in London as well, specifically the Tower and so many other things. And when I came back, I was obsessed with the Tudors. I watched so many TV shows, so many different documentaries. I read a couple of books. I was totally obsessed, and I wanted to know more about Anne Boleyn. And obviously this is just a fiction, but I'm just really interested to see what Amy McNee did in this book. 15 35, Oxfordshire. Well, I'm really interested in this little book, and I have the audiobook from my library. I also have the audiobook for Mrs. Lattimore's Letters. I don't have that in physical form, but I only have the physical copy for Happy Place. So these are the these are the 3 books that I'm going to go in with. And then we'll see what happens. So I see you guys when I give my next update. Well, guys, this is unfortunately a DNF. Not a hard DNF. Probably I will try to read this book maybe in the summer, because this book is kind of summery. But yeah, unfortunately this doesn't work for me. I find it kind of boring. And the funny thing is that when I read this book, I only read, to be honest with you guys, again, like how many pages? I DNF'd it on page 57. I didn't even finish that chapter because I'm just not in the mood for it. But when I read this book, I hear Julia Whelan's voice in my head. This is how you know that you read maybe too many audiobooks and maybe your condition is turning pathological? I don't know, but yeah, that's what's happening in my head. I can hear Julia Whelan. Ugh. Anyways, moving on, I think I am going to continue with the Susan Allen book because, again, I'm kind of in a romance mood and I'm also in a historical fiction mood, so that's what I'm continuing with. And then we'll see what's going to happen. No, it's not working for me. It's not working for me. But it's not a book. It's not a book, it's me. Me. I'm the problem, it's me. Well, guys, I just wanted to pop in because I have fantastic news. I have amazing news, actually, because I am loving this book. I adore this book. I am already like at the 50% mark in the audiobook, and I read that 50% in one go. I just couldn't put it down. And I'm so happy because I don't know when was the last time I felt like this about a book. So just to give you a little bit of more information about the book, because now I finally know what's happening. So the time is the 1500s, 1530 something, and the king is Henry VIII. So we are very much like, in the Tudor times. And our protagonist is Lady Maudlin, or Maud. She is cracking me up. She's so funny. Oh my god, I love it. I love this entire book so far. Anyways, so Maud has a birthmark that runs from her stomach to her inner thighs. And back in those days, they thought that, it was a curse and that it was a witch's mark. And her family, she's a very wealthy family, lords and ladies, they are trying to marry Maud off and trying to hide this birthmark from her future husband. And her mother tells her that all you have to do is just to hide this birthmark until you guys consummate the marriage, and then your future husband will not be allowed to, or won't be able to, annul the marriage. So that's what they are trying to achieve. Everything happens in the first couple of chapters, so no spoilers here. And well, I don't have to say that the wedding night doesn't go as planned, and our story starts there. Oh my god, it is so funny. I don't have to say that this book is a feminist book, and the story is still very much unfolding, and I cannot see what Maud's gonna do next and where we're going and what's going to happen, but so far I am loving it. I am loving the characters, I love the story, I love the commentary, I love the history,
I am in love. I am a little bit tired, so I think I am going to just finish reading this book and just enjoy my walk in the rain. It's one of my favorite activities to do ever, so that's what I'm going to do. But once I finish the book, probably in the upcoming days, I will pop back in and give you my final thoughts.
Do an update this hungry and with such low blood sugars. That's just not possible. So let's eat first. And I just wanted to show you this sandwich, and I know that it doesn't look very appetizing. It's a black bean sandwich that I've been making forever because it's just so delicious. And I'm telling you, if you never tried black beans with tahini, a little bit of lemon and mustard, it's just something you need to try because it is so insanely delicious. I love it. Some rye bread, it's amazing. And those are just some leftover Mexican rice stuffed capsicum and zucchini that I made the other day. I love leftovers, so I'm going to eat that as well. Wow, this is a lot. I'm actually not sure that I can eat everything, but the sandwich, for sure, it's totally worth it. It is the best spread ever. Well, guys, I finished this beauty. I finished this book and I loved it. I loved it. It's not one of my all-time favorites. I don't think that you can find an all-time favorite book when you are in a reading slump, because I am like kind of still in a reading slump, but I am getting out of it slowly but surely. And I think that this is where I'm going to end this vlog now after finishing this book, because it's already been a month. It's been longer than a month since I've been filming this vlog, and I think that I got there where finally I am back to reading. It's just not, I'm just not fully my old self, but it's not about me. It's about this beautiful, 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 beautiful book that I highly recommend that you read. Listen to the audiobook. The narration is fantastic. Or read the physical book if that's what you want. Honestly, it's worth every penny. The second half of this book did take a turn that I did not see coming. And I think that in tone, it was very, very different compared to the first half of the book. But honestly, I loved it. What I really love about this book is our main female protagonist, Maud. Because this book is basically her, and she was the person in this book who really grabbed me. I like the side characters as well. Very nice set of side characters, but truly it is about Maud. Because Maud is a very rich and wealthy noble woman who was raised basically without a moral compass. And this book is about her and her evolution. And I think that it was very, very, very nicely done. And I also really like the historical aspects of this book, because this book is basically looking at that very deeply unfair society of the 1500s and discussing some very, very serious issues, and, you know, asking the reader, are we still there? Or are we over that? Are we a better society? Are we a more modern society than the 1500s? And being somebody who, just like I said many times in this video, kinda obsessed with the Tudors and that history, I enjoyed that historical addition to this book. So overall, I think that this was a fantastic book. I did not see it coming. I did not see it coming what this little book delivered. And I am so happy that I found it. I also really like the cover, so again, I highly recommend this book. And with this, we've come to the end of this reading vlog. Finished, I should say, 3 whole books and DNF'd many books. Honestly, I don't know my DNF count at this stage because, just like I said, I've been filming this vlog for weeks. If you are somebody who's still here, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Hit share, like, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. I have a lot of really good videos coming up in April, especially now that I am kinda getting out of this reading slump. So I'll see you soon in the upcoming videos. But in the meantime, if you want to check out any of my other videos, I will leave them on the screen, probably here and here. And I'll see you soon in an upcoming video. Bye!